and live on Facebook. Share in a group. And group name.
A break from these reclassifications I'm doing.
There you go.
That's a fun project.
So let's see if we can get it to work right the first time this time. Okay, so add a title where this is Beyond Cloud and go live. Okay. And I think we should be live. So welcome everybody. Yeah, we are live on Facebook, so that's great. So welcome everybody to this week's version of our session, webinar, whichever, of Beyond the Cloud, hashtag unscripted fun. We have nothing pre-planned other than a co-host most of the time, and we just see where everything will take us. So I'm Tanya Hiltz, founder of Cloud Bookkeeping Services and Tanya's Bookkeepers Bootcamp. And hopefully all of you know me, and if you don't, just look out for me. Come say hello on Bookkeepers Corner Facebook group, but if you're watching us on this group, you're probably already on the group or on our co-host today, Jennifer Baldick. I know she's streaming this live or posting it live onto her group as well, which is the QBO Connector. So just welcome again. Happy Friday. And thank you very much, Jennifer, for joining us today. So if you just want to let everybody out there know who maybe doesn't know you, a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you're doing this year.
Well, thank you so much for having me on here, Tanya. I feel like I talked to you just recently, but maybe that was like a month ago now. I'm not really sure. Maybe a little bit longer than I think, right?
I think so, yes.
So my name's Jennifer Baldick, and I am a member of Tanya's group. My business is Jetstream Administration, and we focus on implementing cloud technology for bookkeepers and accountants. And so we're always looking for a faster, better, more technology advanced way of doing things. And, you know, to support that and to help others join us in the cloud, similar to Tanya, we've got a Facebook group, a community group called QBO Connector. And so that's where you can find us on Facebook or on our website at qboconnector.com.
Nice.
And so we hope to answer a ton of questions. I think Tanya said that we can answer anything. So I think that means maybe not entirely accounting related, but we may be able to weave it back into accounting somehow.
Most of it's accounting. I don't think we've really gone too far off topic when we've been on camera anyway and recording for any of the other sessions. But, you know, join us live. The link is there, or you can, you know, pop your questions out on Facebook. It's, you know, again, hashtag unscripted fun. So, yeah, almost anything I think is pretty open. So yeah, first off, did anybody have any questions, accounting related, anything that you've always wanted to know that you wanted to ask to get things rolling? We'll throw that out there to the ladies on the call. We've got Suzanne, Jessica, Lillian, Diane. Thank you very much for joining us live.
I have one.
Awesome.
I have a question. How do I get the size correct to print out of QBO? I go to print a report and I get columns missing. I don't get all of the pages. Obviously, I'm doing something wrong.
So give us a, for instance, are you printing a balance sheet?
So yesterday, I tried to print a report that had all of my recurring entries that I did for that month. So sales receipts.
Okay.
And there was 2.5 pages of them. And what I wanted was the customer's name, the amount of the sale, and the balance of the account.
Okay.
I did not get the balance. I was able to get the sale. I only got one sheet, even though I said print all. So I didn't get my second sheet or my total sheet.
Okay. Do you want to jump in on that one, Tanya?
Sure. I'm in here right now. Was it one of the standard reports, or was that a custom report you tried to pull?
It was a standard report, just filtered by sales receipts.
Okay.
Right? So it's a standard sales report that I just filtered by only wanting to see sales receipts and not sales invoices.
Okay, so we've got under the standard reports, we've got like standard sales by customer summary. Is that it, or sales by customer detail?
No, I don't have it open right now either. I should have, I guess, done that for that
But
one.
it's in reports.
Yes.
So I'm looking.
Reports. Okay.
So
And I just filtered the sales report and said I just want to see sales receipts and not everything.
right. Okay. So I've just gone in.
Yep.
And we'll just see this. I've gone into the custom reports. I've gone into the sales by customer detail report. We've grabbed last month,
Okay.
run the report, and then we'll filter it.
And Diane, were you able to see on screen everything that you wanted to
Yes.
see? Okay,
Yes.
that's important to know. So if you could see on screen the info.
Okay. And then, so customize, filter, transaction type.
And are you
No.
in the detail or the summary one, Tanya?
I'm in the detail, and I can't see where I can even get rid of sales receipts.
Should have opened.
Or, sorry, get rid of the invoices and look at just sales receipts. It's giving me more detail. Oh, sales receipt, there we are. So I hit the customize, filter to sales receipt, run report. So I haven't filtered any of the lines. I can view it on screen.
Tanya, how do you filter for sales receipt? Is it under
Oh,
Customize.
I've got some sample data. I can do a screen share if you like.
Beautiful. That would be great because my sample, I tried to get into it. It's not, I don't know, it's saying I'm not allowed.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that I can share.
Hashtag unscripted fun, right?
Of course. So if I do this right now, so you should be able to see Alberta mountain bikes on my screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
yes?
And so I have filtered this so that we're just looking at sales receipts.
Yes.
Transaction
is-
type, okay.
This is similar to what you were looking at, Diane?
Yes, except for I had 2.5 pages.
Okay. And so if you tried to print this,
Yep.
and on the,
really good here.
so here it would be okay?
All here, because I could scroll down and see it all here.
Okay.
And then I just hit print
Okay.
to a PDF. I didn't save it as a PDF. I hit print
Okay.
and then just changed my printer to
Yeah.
my PDF writer. But
My PDF writer is my default, so we can do that too. Now I'll go to desktop somewhere and we'll just save it as a PDF. And let's see what happens. Dun, dun, dun. And so for me, I still have one page.
yeah, I couldn't.
Oh, but not pleasantly.
Cut off at the
Yes.
end.
Oh,
No.
Okay.
And you don't have your total.
So if I go here and I switch it to landscape,
Yeah, I tried that.
let's see what happens. I'll do it PDF 3 just because I hit 3.
It has to be printer settings because I have all of them.
Oh, but it's not pretty at all.
No.
No, it's not pretty at all.
See, and mine is. I can see all of mine.
So
Interesting.
what's the difference?
Wow, Diane, you've uncovered a problem
Is it some sort of page
in
setting?
the first 3 minutes of our call.
It was driving me nuts yesterday. I'm like, okay, I'm obviously just doing something wrong. This is useless, right? There must be just something here that I'm not doing that I should be able to, print
Or
this.
to click on the print button and don't click print again right away. Wait for that preview to load. Not that one. Click the print button, not the green one.
Go, Jessica.
Wait for it to load. That preview is messed up, you see?
Yep.
And then you can go to more settings and tweak it. You probably need to work with your margins or the fit to page. So just click on more settings
But you're right. I bet you it is the fit to page.
All right.
and your scale. You probably, there you go.
Oh.
oh,
More settings.
Thank you, Jessica.
Ask me
You
how
rock.
I know.
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay, so hit the green print button, not the print there. Hit
So
the
we'll
green
do it again.
button at the bottom.
Yep.
Wait for it to load, and then go
More
to
settings.
more settings. And I guess change whatever you need to change there, but it would probably just be fit to page would be fine, right?
Yeah.
So it always helps to wait for that preview to load because it will always look different from QBO's preview. And that way it will save you from having to try several times.
Yes.
Nice.
Excellent.
Nice. Well, I learned something today. That's awesome. I can go home now for the week.
And you know what? And that makes perfect sense because I am, by default, I'm fit to page.
I
Because
think
I've
I'm
got so
probably
many
the same.
different things.
Okay, so how do you get that default though, Tanya?
It's been like this.
I mean, we need that for every report. It needs to fit to page.
Right. So let's look at printer settings, maybe. Let me take a look in printer settings. Manage.
I had to send it out to the board, and I'm like, I can't send them this, right? Like,
see, and I don't know if it's just I'm just looking through right now if that's, and it's not when I go to my PDF converter. It's not. So I wonder if it's just after so many, it learns and defaults to that because I remember having this issue a long time ago, but it's been so long that I don't have it anymore. I wonder if that's just one of the things that it learns.
Well, at least I know. Thank you so much, Lillian. I can now send that report out today because I sure as heck wasn't going to send it out the way it was.
Was it Lillian or was it Jessica?
Jessica.
It was Jessica.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Thank
I'm
you,
like,
Jessica.
oops, sorry, Lillian, if I was giving the credit to Jessica.
No, sorry.
Huge kudos.
Jessica, thank you.
Oh,
And what teamwork, right? And what teamwork.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yes.
Have you heard any clients having trouble with their mobiles on Android sending out invoices and the tax not screwing up right now in the last 20 hours?
Only on your post because you posted that not too long ago, didn't you?
Yeah.
This morning? Yeah. I was going to say somebody just posted and I'm like, oh yeah, that was you.
Yeah, it's me. It's still not fixed.
And so what's the issue? It's just Android sending out a sales invoice?
Well, when they go to do a sales invoice, they open up the sales, start the invoice and go to the tax and it wants them to set up the tax again. It's not giving them a choice of what tax to use.
Oh, I wonder if
some sort of Android, we were on QBO support yesterday for a long time and then found out it is an issue, but it's been like 24 hours and they can't bill.
Can you try to fool the system by setting the tax code at the customer level within the desktop version?
It works fine on iPhone and desktop. It's just an Android.
No, I understand that, but if you were trying to bill customer ABC and you went into, like if you opened up the app on your laptop and went to customer ABC and set the default tax code, could that be enough just to outsmart it to allow you to invoice?
I guess it could, but they have like 20 customers a day that I would be on call doing that every time for them.
Right.
Yeah. But presumably that once you set those tax codes, and I think that you can do them at a mass change, then that would be a one-time thing. And so, yes, ultimately tech support will fix the Android problem, but in the meantime, your customer is not getting revenue at the door. So I just trying to.
No, it's not. And each customer is different. They don't have same customers because it's service business. So basically, they have 3 technicians working, and they're all having this issue. So other than going out and getting iPhones right now.
No, but if you set the customer tax code in QBO,
yeah, I know, but each customer is different. It's a new customer every time they do a sales. They're on their phone and they're going from one house to another house to another house doing.
Oh, so they're not like repeat customers. They're all new customers.
They're all new customers.
Service business.
The service industry.
Okay.
So it's been like that for 24 hours. Thank God it's the weekend.
Right.
Well, they said if it's not fixed by Monday, they're going back to Joyce. That's what they were using before.
Oh, but Joist communicates directly into QBO.
On their phone, and we've never been able to get it set up. We've paid the $150, tried to troubleshoot it and whatever, but.
Okay, because I've got a customer that's very successfully using Joist, and their invoices are coming straight into QBO.
Yeah, we Joist charged them $150. We tried to troubleshoot and set it up. It didn't work, so he transferred to. I convinced them, you should use QBO.
Right.
So anyway, hopefully they'll fix it.
Yeah, and I know I don't have currently a customer in Joist, but I do know customers. We did have a client who used to use Joist, and they had no issues with it either. And that was years ago. They haven't even been a client for about 5 years. So it must just be a temporary Android thing that hopefully won't last long.
Yeah, well, we'll have to, I guess if it's not happening by Monday, I'll go back to try and figure out how to get Joist working. I think they paid the setup of $150. They should be able to help us.
Right.
But it's all your fault for changing me to QBO. Oh, I said, you said you were getting an iPhone.
Well, see, that's it. I only have an iPhone, so I don't know how to. I had one Android for like 6 months. It was a BlackBerry Android, and I thought I would try it just temporarily, and no.
No, yeah. I have 2 iPhones. That's how I operate.
Yeah. Yep.
Is one personal and one business?
You are correct, Lillian.
Great
idea. You win a prize. Well, it just makes it easier that way because I know when the sound of the one ring is the business number. So if it's after 5, I can safely ignore that. And if it's a personal phone, then I know that it's someone that, is a friend.
I'm getting another iPhone.
Or what you do is to have one iPhone, you just have to make sure, but mine, it's a lot of work, go through and have 2 ringtones, one for friends. And then if they're not on your phone, they're probably not that good enough of a friend that you have to answer.
So I discovered something interesting. As you know, with PayPal now, the way you have to attach or connect the client's app is you have to go right onto their site, onto their QBO. And there is some kind of problem right now with PayPal. And I had to wait about 48 hours to be able to make the connection, and the support team was great. So if anybody has any accounts and they're having a little bit of a problem, they do have, it is a known problem. So they were able to help me with it. So just trying to save anybody some work that might be trying to connect.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
So connecting to the PayPal
app, yes.
Which I understand most people aren't doing. When I read a lot of stuff on the forums, that everybody says, no, stay away from the connecting it. It's easier to reconcile it without it.
I find it easy to reconcile it that way. It kind of does the.
You use a clearing account, I'm assuming?
It doesn't even do a clearing account.
I think it depends. If you've got multi-currency, it's not a good connection. If you're just using Canadian, then the PayPal connection functions reasonably well, has been my experience.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got multi-currency, then you get all those extra transactions going in there, and it can be quite a mess.
So the PayPal connection just is set up like a bank, I'm assuming, and so you reconcile that account, and then you're just including transfers to your operating account,
right?
Within there.
Yes.
See, I'm of the camp that I used to be the camp. Don't connect. More connections, the more issues. However, and I never say never, because I just said to somebody yesterday over at Intuit that, in 2012, I said QBO sucks. I also said computers sucked and they weren't the way of the future. And this is, of course, all we do and whatnot. So I eat my words quite a bit. But I'm now starting to realize, now that I'm looking more into the financial advisory, how we can really build packages. I'm really starting to dig in, which, by the way, if you guys haven't noticed, I've launched the registration link. That should be really, really exciting. That we're probably going to have at least 15 apps by the end of it. I'm still adding more into it. And it's, again, going to be more of a how-to rather than just a product demo, because we can get product demos anytime. So we should all be able to, you know, like kick butt at this and build amazing packages that our clients see value in and that really provide value for us as well. But anyway, as I'm looking into that and some of the reports, and Shirley Mathers, if you're still watching, she is an amazing person with Chata. Her and I have many late night weekend discussions, and I've been starting to see what she's doing with some of the data and starting to see the value of having that data in so that the clients can see, they can see exactly, like you can give them the numbers of the daily sales, what items are better, you know, sellers of that. We can use Chata for different things like that. And I can see where that can give value to the client, maybe above and beyond what they can get in some of these point of sale systems. So I'm starting to lean towards the other way. Is there anybody else that maybe has any thoughts on that process? Like, what do you do, Jennifer?
That's a great question. When it comes to all the apps and how to choose, sorry, I think I tuned out there for a second there.
Sorry.
There was a little bit of a sound break, and I was like, I think I'm missing some important words that are coming out of her mouth.
With regards to like your point of sale systems, bringing information in,
Yeah.
are you of the camp that you keep it out and just use the reports in that point of sale system? Or are you bringing the information to QBO so that you can export that into something else for your advisory services?
Yeah, I'm of the camp of Teresa Slack and Connie Smith. So when it comes to any kind of connection, whether it's POS or e-commerce, I go out to another expert because my existing customer base don't use POS. So that's not something that I'm using on a regular basis. It's not in my wheelhouse. So if someone was going to come to me, I would either send them out to an expert or bring an expert in to make sure that those connections are done correctly. I've tried working with Square in the past and trying to work with their feed in and trying to manage all of their expenses and stuff. And that was my one experience. And I thought, you know, this is really not my area. Yeah. And so I haven't gone back since.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? And that's great. So now there's 3 standpoints on that, you know, sub it out.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Let someone else do it. I'm good with that.
Absolutely. And you
that's
know,
why we're all a family here, right?
Absolutely. But you know, it's really important to, you know, understand and realize your limitations. And I know there's some, you know, some people out there that, you know, hopefully are watching now are learning from that and connecting with that, because I know I used to think I had to do everything, and I used to think it wasn't okay to say that I didn't know how to do that, whether it be to a client or another bookkeeper. And so I felt all this immense pressure to try to take everything on. And then I would research and go, oh my gosh, I'm in over my head. Why didn't I just say so? Because I felt that if I said, you know, something along those lines, that it would make me look like less of a professional.
Well,
and I totally disagree with that.
But that's a total empowerment thing that you get to once you run your business. You know, for example, this afternoon, I received an email from the Find an Accountant website off QBO of someone looking for, and I'll use the words, they were looking for someone for data entry. And that was their request. And I was looking at it and thought, well, I will be politely replying that we do not do data entry, for lack of a better way of saying it. And a minute later, my phone rang and it was that person. So I guess that person had looked me up online, found my phone number and called me. And as I got talking to that person and understanding what their business was, I said, well, they were a law firm. I can share that information. And I said, but that's not an industry that I serve. So I cannot help you, but I can give you some guidance as to where you can go and find someone that will be suited to help you. But I understand, you know, the first few times you do that, it's a really difficult thing to say to prospective customer, potential revenue. But the most empowering and the best thing that you can do for your business is to say no to that, because it's not going to serve you well. It might be X number of hours work, but it's going to take you 2 and 3 times as long because you have to learn it. And when you're spending 3 times as long, you're earning 1/3 the revenue. It's not something that you're going to be super excited about doing, right? Well, and so your customer will suffer.
Well, and you might end up losing. So you might say, okay, I'll do it at a cheaper rate because I'm learning. You could end up buggering it up. And then the client, you know, when they see that, they're like, okay, well, you're not kind of as experienced as I thought or whatever. So you might end up losing the client again in the end anyway. I mean,
and you'll be blamed because you took it on. And because you took it on, you have accepted the role of expert.
Yeah.
And so if you're not the expert, you may not want to take it on.
Well, perfect example. We had somebody call through today that has a US company and a Canadian company. And we thought, okay, you know, they reached out. Are they just looking for something, a little bit of help? You know, I'm kind of, depending on where they are in the multi-currency and the amount of it and the complexity, we will turn them away or refer them to somebody else, actually, not just turn them away. But he was looking for somebody that had a more in-depth knowledge on both sides. So I reached out to, you know, Shirley, she's still on here watching, another shout out, reached out to her, and her and I chatted because I know she does deal with clients that are cross-border and multi-currency, and she's like, yep, nope, don't go there. But she gave me the name of somebody who is she's on vacation this week, so they have to reach out next week. You know, and I'll give a shout out if anybody out there's looking, Marnie Stretch. I'm sure Marnie would love the shout out. I didn't realize Marnie was from the US.
Yeah.
She's American. So she knows both sides. I'm like, well, great, because I know they're going to be in good hands with Marnie anyway. So we've asked them if they mind dealing with somebody who's not in this province because they're local, but who, you know, we can ultimately, you know, say you're in good hands with her, because I wouldn't give them a name if I couldn't say that. So, you know, thank you so much to Shirley for that. And Marnie, if you're watching, I'll be sending an email later this evening.
You know, we almost all need to have our specialties tattooed on our foreheads, because we talk to each other all the time, but we don't necessarily know the depth of knowledge that each of us has. So, you know, it's another great, and I'd give a shout out to everybody watching, is that if you have a specialty, tell other people. If there's something that you love and you're really good at it, share that on the Facebook group that you're with, because somebody else is going to want to either send a referral your way or maybe have you coach them into being smarter and more effective at it. So there's no downside to tooting your own horn, right? Everybody gains from that.
Well, I totally agree, because we all, you know, I do a lot of service contractors. I don't do lawyers. I don't do doctors, you know, and things like that. And some people are nonprofit, and some people, that's all they do. You know, so I think that's really, really a good point.
So let's leave that in then. So, and I think that's a great idea. Jennifer, I am going to be putting a poll on our group actually later today.
Okay.
If anybody has a specialty, fill it in, and then that way, and maybe I'll tag that. So that way anybody can go and look and we can help each other out. So does anybody here, like, let's start with you, Jennifer, and then we'll go around to see if anybody here has specialties.
My specialty right now is, as I think you know, I am a certified Profit First professional. So my specialty is really focusing now on helping businesses sort out their cash and turning them into profitable businesses through discipline, best practices, and, you know, being ahead of the game as it relates to their business. So there's some pricing in there. There's definitely expense evaluation. And so that's really where I focus. When we're talking a little bit more traditional about what my niche is, I do focus with management consultants, service industries. I do get waist deep with multi-currency. So that is one thing that I do like to do. And projects, now that it's available on QBO, is something that we're finding some really good applications for.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's go in order then. Suzanne, do you have a specialty?
Yeah, so yes, I do service and contractors, lots of solo and up to like 20 in payroll. I do retail also. And more importantly, I keep them organized. So like for Jennifer, you know, for their cash flow and whatever, and, you know, ask them and have a good conversation of what their goal is, where they want to go. And at this point in time, getting them out of trouble from CRA. So no more penalties. I'm paid for every month by you not paying your, and, you know, contributing to CRA. So that's what I do. And so it's bookkeeping, business consultant, advisory, but that's what I do.
Okay. And Diane, I know you believe in niches.
Yeah, I do, for sure, in this market. And it's funny to say that, because 30 years of building Soma Small Business Solutions, I never had a niche in that sense.
Right.
I helped every kind of client out there, which now I'm super glad about, because I have a huge range of knowledge. But for sure, I would say that I specialize in inventory. I've always
That's good to know.
I've always had a ton of clients that have been in using inventory. But then I have to say, on top of that, I am also, of course, a Sage 50 expert. So anybody with any issues in Sage 50, I can help them with that, of course. So that's 2 areas. I do a ton of training, especially in Sage 50, but also brand new bookkeepers that are just not absolutely sure about how to do a certain transaction, that kind of thing. So I help them out, give them some confidence, and tell them this is how it is. More like one-off stuff for brand new individual bookkeepers.
And you know what? Oh, sorry. You were going to say anything else?
Nope. No.
Okay. I love that you do that. It does not surprise me one bit that you do that, but I love that. When I first, so I think most people know my background was insurance, and then I overlapped since 1997. I learned taxes because I was managed an insurance office that had a Liberty tax office in it, so I needed to learn about taxes, but I stayed away from the bookkeeping. So when I got into it, I've only been bookkeeping 10 years officially. It's only been 10 years, so it's not a long time. But I'm big on the compliance. So my specialty, I guess, would be compliance on that side. But when I first got into it, it's like, okay, it's organizing the information, how to get that stuff organized. And I reached out to somebody locally and I said, okay, you know what? Can I just mentor under you? I will pay you one-offs per the hour so that I can take the stuff that I'm uncomfortable with, make sure that I've got it right. I love her to death. She wouldn't accept a penny from me, but I only used her like 3 times. It wasn't all that much. And she's like, Tanya, you've got this, you've got this. But I think that's awesome that you offer that.
The majority of my call-ins that I do on a regular basis that people set up appointments, they're, inexperienced bookkeepers or business owners that don't quite know how to book something. I don't really care what program they're in because it's all about bookkeeping in the end.
Right.
If it's something that's more in-depth and, they want to know how to set up inventory, for example, or time and billing or anything else in Sage 50, then that's something I can, help them do. So, but definitely brand new bookkeepers, I have a big heart for them.
So question, Diane, how do you reach out to those bookkeepers?
I don't do a whole lot other than the fact that the majority of people know me in Canada.
Anyway, yes.
Through either training for Sage. I've been training for Sage for over 15 years now. So a lot of people know me that way. And then, of course, through IPBC. So.
Right.
And then we all talk about Diane behind her back, in front of her back, and tell everybody about how wonderful she is. So,
and being a Sage 50 person also, I've known Diane for a long time.
But if I come across somebody who doesn't know Diane's name, it's like, what? Are you from this planet?
Well, there's brand new bookkeepers out there, right? That are just coming up. And so those are the ones that I would really like to help.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Well, that's great that you offer those services, and that's wonderful. That's because they need it, and some people you feel uncomfortable reaching out. I didn't. I was confident with myself, and I knew what I wanted to learn. I knew I didn't want to go to school and learn it that way because that's not teaching me the practical. I wanted the real, the practical. And so I reached out and, it worked out great. But that's awesome that you do that. So if there's anybody out there, you
can go to school and get the bookkeeping certificate. But, when you first start out, your confidence level is pretty low and you really want to do a good job. So to have somebody that you can call and just say, what is this, prepaid expense stuff or whatever it is, and get to learn it that way, but feel like you're doing a good job in learning. I think it's probably really important to build confidence.
It is, and that's the great thing about some of these groups here. The only thing I just recommend is I unfortunately do see, what I think we all do, sometimes wrong information is being put out there and being given back. The community, for the most part, is really good at, correcting in a very nice professional way. And I know in our group, for the most part, everybody's really good at that, being, providing the link and nicely, politely going and correcting. But, I think it's great. It does.
I just had that happen, actually, now that you bring that up, Tanya. I have a mentor right now that I'm working with, and, I saw, and he actually is a construction worker that's wanting to start a bookkeeping business. And I saw him on one of the forums asking a question, and I was really excited about it. And then I saw the answer and went, oh no, right? So I had to actually have that discussion with him. You have to take everything that someone says on a forum with a big, huge grain of salt, right? They're not, it's maybe the way they learned or the way they do it or the workarounds or whatever, but I'm going to teach you the right way.
Right? You still have to take that advice and measure it against what you know and measure it against the facts and the realities of the situation. Because out of context, that piece of advice may have been correct in a certain scenario, but not to that specific question. So
that's another aspect of it.
Right, because there's no simple answer. I could ask you a question right now about bookkeeping, but there could be 6 answers depending on the industry, the timing, the type of business, right? There's a lot of different correct answers. So simple questions are never simple in our industry.
Yeah, and that's why those forums can be a bit dangerous.
Yeah, there's more, there's usually more questions you have to ask before you give the right answer.
100%.
That's why if I feel like I need to ask a question in a group, I ask for links or resources rather than for answers.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people are working off of outdated ideologies, especially when it comes to compliance. Laws change. It may have been done that way 10 years ago. So I've learned to no longer just ask the question. I ask for, show me your resources. Do you have any link that I can research from? And then I feel a lot more comfortable because, unfortunately, like you guys say, you have to take it with a big grain of salt. They mean well, and they don't know that it's not right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So then, Lillian, did you have any niches or specialties that you?
As a matter of fact, I do. Actually, Tanya and I had this conversation not that long ago, but I've decided to specialize, and I took a little bit of a leap of faith and had to shift some clients over to some other bookkeepers. But what I do is very service-based for professionals, so primarily attorneys, CPAs, and also entertainment agents. So those are the 3 primary ones that I work with. Oddly enough, something else got thrown into the mix as well, only purely by accident, but I'm also pretty proficient in the transportation companies because I have a few that I work with, and they just seem to be, once they know someone, they refer everyone there. So,
right.
But it's a really interesting business as well. I don't do any retail. I don't do any anything with inventory. I don't do any e-commerce. I've learned that the hard way. Just don't do it. It takes too much time, and I leave it to people like Diane, who are very good at it, and I will also know who to refer to now.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So for those, Lillian is the States. I know Jennifer, myself, Suzanne, Diane, we're Canada. Jessica, you're
US.
The US, and Karen's US. So Karen's being very quiet down there. So, so that way now you know where people are from in case you want to catch that. So
that would be a great, sorry to interrupt, but that would be a great Zoom thing if we could put a little country flag next to our name, right? Diane Fuller, CPB, Canadian flag, right?
Yeah.
Or globe.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So Jessica, do you have any specialties then?
Yes, I definitely do. And it took me years to narrow it down, and it's still evolving. But I specialize in service-based businesses that use QuickBooks Online. I am really good at that software, so even though I can support other cloud accounting software, I love rescue jobs in QBO. And I have a soft spot for the startups and the micro businesses, those that are considered too small of a fish that other bookkeepers or CPAs cannot ignore. I help empower them. I give them training if they're not at this stage where they can afford recurring service, and nurture them so that when they are ready, then they can get past that startup stage. Because unfortunately, the statistics, at least in the US, is most startups fail within 5 years. So I try to help them beat that statistic. I wrote a book to help them, reach that point and, stay on track. And I also like helping brand new bookkeepers, very similar to Diane, although maybe not so in depth. I help them when they may know the bookkeeping, but they may not the practice side of it, workflows, systems. I do have a lot of bookkeepers that reach out to me when they have their first cleanup or a cleanup that may be bigger than what they're used to have a second pair of eyes, or if they're not sure what, they know something is wrong, but they don't know why it's wrong. I help them untangle that web.
Right. Awesome.
Great.
And then Karen.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So my specialty is kind of a lot of what you guys are doing, a home-based service industry. So I've got, the plumbers, the window washers, that kind of industry. I'm actually going to a conference in another week or two that is for people in that industry, so hoping to gain some new clients. But I come from a long history of payroll. I ran payrolls for many, many years, so I actually love doing payroll, and I feel like I have a lot of knowledge in that area. I'll only use QBO right now. I have 2 clients. But I also love, you guys call them rescue, cleanup projects. That is my thing. I love taking a big old mess and putting it back in its order. That's my thing. So.
Well, good. We need people like you in the industry.
I love it.
Yeah, and we've got Mary who's joined us on Facebook, and she's saying that she's based in the U.S. as well, and her specialty is construction and small business-based services. So she's put a link in there to her page as well. So again, if anybody, out there has somebody they want to refer or wants to reach out, then there's definitely lots for there. And I just have to say that I love that I'm hearing the one thing that I've always disagreed with. I don't fully agree with having, a niche or a niche in the, I guess, older sense. A few years ago, we were hearing people, one industry. I don't believe in that, because you need to diversify. If something happens and one industry goes under, you've lost everything. So I love the fact that everybody here, you might niche or niche or specialize, but you have multiple. And I love that. I love hearing that.
Well, and what I actually like is because I have a huge range of different clients, that gives me more advisory that I can offer people. I know somebody in just about every industry that they might need for some other service.
Awesome. Perfect. That makes you a great resource.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And have you thought about putting something together on, your website or a little book or something for them to be able to go find themselves? Or
yeah, that is in, yes. I just need to have time to do that. But yes, I've been thinking about that for a long time, because I get so frustrated when I hear about a client who's gone off and found their own resource for something. And I was like, but I've got a better one or a less expensive one. So I definitely need to get that working on.
So, and you know where you put that? You put that on your client access page. Karen's a bootcamper as well, so she's going through now, and that's probably why she doesn't have the time, because I give her lots of other stuff to do every week.
Yes.
But you put that on your client access page, and that's one of your value adds that you can have for that, and just let them know, here you are, here's the contact, go back and forth, and that's great.
Yes.
Nice. Awesome.
It's so cool, Tanya, to see you taking bookkeepers and helping them go to that next level.
Yes.
I totally love that about your boot camp. It's just perfect.
Thank you. But you know what? I actually have you to thank for a lot of where it's gone. Your encouragement, even our conversations back years ago, I honestly don't know if I would have had the confidence to keep going if it hadn't been for your encouragement. So thank you to that. And this is an homage to you. And I'll tell you, 3 of the ladies that are live here are boot campers. Boot camp, 2 graduates and 1 current. I'll look up to you if you want to raise your hand. Obviously, Susan.
Yes.
Good for you guys. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
We have 45 graduates in total now.
That's awesome.
And again, working on a small basis. I won't work with any more than 4 at a time. So we're working on small, but it's great. And Like, I'm hoping that I'm making big differences in the way that they're thinking and doing business and all of that, instead of just, which is helping the industry, instead of just, oh, just go out and churn more out or whatever. But I think feedback I get from everybody, they tell me that I've been doing good anyway. But that's thanks to you, Diane. That really is. Because I would not be here.
It's fantastic. I know it's a lot of work, but, literally, I would be losing sleep at night worrying about the bookkeepers of Canada, especially. I'm sure the same kind of stuff goes on in the States. If they don't actually do the work it's going to take to bring them into the advisory services to be able to survive through what's going on right now. And I would, and you came up with this whole plan of helping them do that. So kudos to you. I just think it's fantastic. We all need that. And there's still a whole lot of us back there. I mean, just if you think of IPBC, 2,000 members, how many did you say have graduated?
45.
And then we've got the cream of the crop, like Jennifer and a lot of others that have been able to scale and do that themselves.
Yep.
But what do we do with the other 1,100, 1,200, whatever that is, bookkeepers just in IPBC that really need the help to transition into the new role?
I'm going to jump in here for a couple of reasons. I think Tanya knows why. 100% agree. And how do we reach those people? We just keep trying. We keep talking, we keep Facebooking, we keep going to conferences, we keep training, we keep educating, we keep putting it out there that we are available and we are resources.
That's right.
100%.
Absolutely.
And then secondly, Tanya and I had a little miscue, and I've actually got a customer call for 4:15 today. I got it in my head that this was 30 minutes for us, so I've messed up. I've messed up. I went on vacation and everything changed. So I am going to have to cut out a few minutes early, but I've really enjoyed being here. Thank you so much for everybody's contributions. Diane, I echo every single thing that you've said about Tanya and her boot camp and what she's doing there. And I echo everything that Tanya has said about you and all that you have done for our industry. So thanks and huge kudos to both of you. And I will be watching the last 13 minutes of this a little bit later on.
Thank you so much. And we'll see you Saturday.
We will see you tomorrow, Tanya. And everybody else tomorrow. Yes. Everybody else have a great weekend. And I will see hopefully all of you at IPBC.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks. Good. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye, Jennifer.
Thanks for having me.
So, and there's something to be said too for the elevation of the bookkeeping position, because there's a lot of people that have this conception of a bookkeeper as just like a little number cruncher. They're in the back office. It's just like a mom part-time doing this for a few hours. And it's really not that at all. And I think people like Diane and all of you in there, Tanya, every one of you that spends the time to do these kinds of things. Tanya, who spends her time doing these boot camps and training us by us going to conferences, trying to elevate ourselves, getting into niches and really, defining and working on our craft makes us, truly what we are. We're so important to our clients. I know a lot of my clients, when they make a big business decision, I'm one of the first phone calls that they make, and we talk about that. And I don't think some other bookkeepers who are maybe just starting out realize how important they are to their clients. So it's really
the economy.
Yes,
to everything. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Diane, because everybody's going to see this all over Facebook. I'm going to be reaching out to the other groups to try to get this put out there, but I ended up being from actually something Lillian said to me. She sent me an email while we were in Scaling New Heights, and she's like, Tanya, if you did like a boot camp on financial advisory, I would be so in. I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's not what boot camp is about. Not pay here and then pay here and then pay here. So I'm like, it's not about that. But Lisa Mueller, who was also on this call earlier, was part of that, because that happened the same day. And Lisa came out of a cash flow tool, and I think she went to both of them, their breakout presentations or seminars. And she came out and she said that they were amazing. The way that they actually said it to her is something she can see herself implementing. So I took all of that, the atmosphere at Scaling New Heights, reached out to some people that are there. I now have what are we? I think we're 11 apps signed on, and I just literally posted it yesterday, kind of a soft post that we're basically doing. It's going to be from now until December, other than conference weeks, is going to be every single week. We are going to be having a financial advisory webinar with a different app. Their involvement, I've reached out, I'm still signing. There's still 3 spots left for people to sign in, and I'm talking to 3 more of them later on this week. But I've said to them, I don't want typical demos. This is not a demo. We can get a demo everywhere. We need to see how to the point that when we're done, we can walk away and easily see that how we can implement it. And each of the tools that are going to be there, some of them, there's a few of them that solve the same solution, but in different ways. Some of them are different solutions. So you might be able to use 1 or 2 with a client, or say that might be great for this client. But every Monday for the general public boot campers, we get our own special one with an extra 30 minutes of how to. But for everybody, it'll be an hour every Monday. Sign up. You'll get the recordings. If you're not live, I'm trying to encourage them to give extra incentives as well, the apps, some type of extra special something for it. And I have just told them that I will give them the registration list, so they're allowed to send 1 email afterwards, and that's it, but that not until December, till the whole series is done. But I've been organizing that. The first 100 people that are live can join in live. Unlimited registrants, but unfortunately my Zoom is restricted to the first 100 people that come in live. So if we have more than 100, if you're 101 or onwards, unfortunately you can't join live. Wait for the recording, but that's going to be out everywhere. I'll be posting it everywhere. This is not secret, private information, because just like Diane said, we need to change this industry. So if it works well, I might try to get them to do it next year, but essentially we're 5 months of once a week, every hour of real how-to. Some of the information might be repeat because, they might have said that one last week and this app might say it this week, but I guarantee that we're going to pick up different information from everybody. And at the end, we should all be powerhouses and be able to rock financial advisory services.
Right.
So
exciting.
Do that. Sign up.
Yes.
I already did.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
I'm signed up.
Awesome.
More knowledge, the better.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
For an old girl like me, I'm not going to quit learning.
And I have to say, it's funny when I've been talking to some of them, they're like, so what's our cost? I said, there's no cost. I guess they're just used to, I don't know if it's different in the States for some of the influencers down there. And they're like, well, why are you doing this? It's a lot, and it's a lot more time to pull it together than I thought it was. It's basically been all encompassing the last 2 weeks. But I said, we need the industry, first off. I said, the industry needs to be there. I want to learn it for myself. So why can't other people learn at the same time and do this? And then let's face it, I do get to introduce them and talk about boot camp for like 30 seconds at the beginning. So that's always good.
Good.
But you're right. This industry needs to change, and we need to not leave people behind. We need to move forward. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Better in a team, moving forward together, supportive.
Exactly.
What's my hashtag? Bookkeepers Unite.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, absolutely. And accountants too. Anybody who doesn't know how to do this, So hopefully we're going to be able to get the other Facebook groups. They're going to be reaching out to all of them. I know I've got lots of friends. I know they'll support it to put it out there because, again, it's free. They've got nothing to lose except for to help the industry move forward. So.
I can't wait. That's a great idea.
What was, again, special thanks to you and Lisa. So, yeah. So then if anybody wants to send, I guess Lillian likes chocolate and flowers. And awesome.
Oh,
Somebody I noticed in Facebook had a question. Has anyone ever had bank accounts merge? This happened to 2 of my clients 2 weeks ago.
Where did that question come
I
in?
have never seen that.
It's in the chat.
Yes.
You know what? Then my chat just might not be refreshed. Thank you for seeing that, Diane. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I just saw it pop up. It's Martha. Martha was asking that.
Okay. Oh, in our chat, our Zoom chat.
Yes.
Oh, I've been focusing on the Facebook chat. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you, Martha. I'm so sorry. Yeah, she'll be joining us next week live. Her microphone isn't working. She couldn't get it working. So let me see here. So hopefully she's still on here. If not, she'll watch the recording. I'll make sure to reach out. So yeah, has anyone had bank accounts merge? I haven't. Has anybody else experienced that?
No.
I haven't.
Are you? Let me see if she's still there. Martha's still there. And she's left. So we don't even know if, I'm assuming it's QBO. She didn't say.
Yeah, she chatted with me and she said it was QBO.
Okay.
And they finally, what did she say here? Intuit was a catalyst. They finally copped to it. And I had to separate them back out manually. It was frightening.
Ooh.
Well, you know what? This is actually a good lead-in to something else that we've been looking at, and I've been chatting with a few different people in different groups, and I am going to be looking to it a lot more, is what happens if your data gets corrupted or anything like that. And this is another good, so there's Chronobooks and Rewind. I personally haven't used any of them. I know that they're slightly different. I know some people like one or the other. I thought Chronobooks was a little bit of the favorite, but again, I don't know if that's a US Canada thing. I actually have a meeting booked with Rewind for Monday to look into it a little bit more. But in a case like that, as long as you, of course, have to be prepared with your, to know what data you're potentially going to have to repeat and add back in. But that might be really good, that if it's too difficult to merge them out, that if that's created a bit of havoc, you can rewind it back a day to the day before that happened. I know.
And Rewind only goes from when you sign up. Like, it doesn't go back.
Oh, and that, right. No, so obviously, yes, you would have to proactively have signed up for Rewind first, or Chronobooks, and then do that, because Chronobooks, I believe, is the same. It'll go back as far as when you sign up, because that's when they start actually backing it up. Another good thing that
audit trail, wouldn't that give some indication if they knew when it would happen? Maybe the audit trail could kind of explain what could have happened.
You mean what information they'd have to repeat, like re-enter?
No, just to see what was it that happened. The only thing I could think of is that, maybe when you're accepting, for example, like sometimes with credit cards, they'll change the numbers. That happened to me once with the credit cards, and I had to redo it again, and then it kind of messed up my connections, and I had two. But I was able to see how it happened through the audit trail.
Okay, yeah, and I'm not sure about that, but I'm thinking if it's two bank accounts, it was probably the API connection. So I would say the API connection probably, I know how sometimes they do a stutter.
Yes.
It might have merged the pair of them, and if you've got a lot of auto ads, that could be a lot of work to try to undo that. Disconnect them, reconnect them. I know, again, Shirley Mathers, if she's watching now, if not, she'll watch it later. One of the things that comes from her and I do so much late night collaboration. We used to do it over, if we've had a bad day, we do it over alcohol. And my daughter used to come in and she'd call it booze camp. Oh, you're having another booze
camp?
Shirley Mathers would be a camper as well.
I think we're onto something here.
Yeah.
Hey, Tanya, do you think Rewind and Chrome will be part of that app?
Sorry?
Rewind or Chrome, will they be part of the app series, the advisory service?
They're not, but I am going to be doing something different with them, because I do want to get it. Again, some of these apps I want to learn more about. Why not let everybody learn at the same time? And I do have a list of Avalara, because especially with the Nexus, US Nexus, I think Avalara would be great. Fishbowl, Auto Entry, there's Business Importer, Flowless, and then they're on my list. I want to do something separate, so I will be doing separate webinars again out to everybody. Just because, again, if I want to learn more, I think everybody else does too.
So, Van, do you download like your data, or how do you do it? The expert that you are.
Well, we don't back up our data. I've just been, okay, great, it's up there. And by the way, I just want to do a quick shout out, Brad. Thank you for signing up, and absolutely, I'll be posting it or and reaching out to to post the financial advisor series and get into it. Brad, thank you for that. But if there is anybody else that's an admin of one of the other Facebook groups, I will be reaching out sometime over the weekend to see if I can post or you can post. So I haven't forgotten about you. I've just been trying to juggle a lot of stuff this week, and it's been crazy. But no, I don't have anything right now that I do to back up. When I back up the data, the only time I really do that is if a client is leaving. I will back everything up. I'll pull it out into a PDF and Excel, and I will provide them with that information in their smart vault, which is where we keep it. So that way, should they choose not to go ahead with QBO, they still have access to that data.
You know, I think that's one thing that shied me away from going to QBO until 2 years ago, because in Sage, of course, I had my backups. So
right,
and it just makes me nervous sometimes. So I think, should I be downloading each time? You know, all the transactions. How the heck am I gonna, recover if something happens?
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I just want to say just real quickly, and then it's 4:30 because I've got a client who'll be here any minute, so we would have to cut it short. But the other good thing about that is if you want to test an app or you're connecting a new app and you don't realize, so Square is a great example. I don't know what it is about, if it's a Canada Square connections, if it's just me and I need a connection expert, like Teresa Slack or somebody to get in to do this. But we've got Square connected to one client and it doubled their income. It doubled all of the sale, everything the way it came in. So if you connect an app and it does that, and you have Chronobooks or Rewind and it does that today, you can easily go, oh, let's just unconnect the app and just rewind to yesterday. And then there's only a little bit to do. So it can definitely be savings in there. So yeah, I do want to definitely have, again, the pair of them on so that we can do a good comparison, see what's the difference, what they offer, and determine what will be better for our clients.
Does anyone have an idea of what the cost is for like Chronobooks?
So I know Rewind is $5 a month.
And Chronobooks is also $5. So I know Chronobooks is US.
Per client.
$5 US per client.
Okay.
And I think Rewind is US as well. Are they not? Or are they Canadian prices? I think they're US.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, Chronobooks is $10 for the client, but if you let them know that you're a pro advisor, then they'll change your rate to $5 and your account is free. So my personal books are backed up by Chronobooks at no charge.
Beautiful.
That's great. Jessica. Thanks, Jessica.
And Brad Salmanis just posted on Facebook that he used Chronobooks last night. He moved his file with 6 years of history into a different QBO shell. So he was playing around with it last night. And you can also store backup files offline if you want, which is really neat.
Yes, I have mine going to Google Drive.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and then Brad said the same thing that you just said, Jessica. Chrono is $5 and Pro Advisors get the free license, so that's awesome.
Perfect.
All right, well, I love where we went, and I love the hour, that it was good that we got through so many different topics because they're all really important. So I thank you so much, everybody, for that joined live. I thank you, everybody who who gave their input. I thank you, everybody who just took it out of your time just to watch and listen and be with us that way. So,
back to reclassification.
all right.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great
weekend.
Bye, and we'll see you next week.
Got it.
Thanks. Bye.